What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Living in Denver. Got a really good one for you today. Going to be sharing with you everything about Littleton, Colorado, one of my really up-and-coming favorite parts of Denver, located just south of downtown. Littleton's got a little bit of something for everybody, from its historic downtown to its scenic parks, top-rated schools. It really does have a lot to offer. Going to be going over all of that today, so stay tuned. All right, so like I said, guys, today we're going to be talking about Littleton, Colorado. And before we get started, just to recap, my name is Adam Lang. I'm a licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado. And as much as I love making videos like this one, what I really like even more is just connecting with people, whether it be somebody out of state or even locals here in already Colorado that are just looking to either upgrade their primary residence or maybe even looking for a second investment property. I'd love to set up a time just to chat with you guys for a few minutes, learn a little bit more about what you're looking for, and hopefully identify some ways that I can provide value to you. So if you need to reach out to me, I'm available 24/7 for you. My phone number, my email, my website, everything's listed here down below. And what also works really great with a lot of my friends and customers is to set up a 15-minute Zoom. We jump on a Zoom call, that way we can kind of have a face-to-face, even if you are out of state, and just be able to identify and kind of figure out, again, what it is that you're truly looking for and figure out how I can hopefully help. Looking forward to connecting, but for now, let's talk all about Littleton, Colorado. Let's go. All right. So, Littleton, Colorado. It's located just south of downtown Denver, and it has a lot going for it, like I said. It's located in the southern metro area of Denver, Colorado. It's nestled between the foothills of the Rocky Mountains and the South Platte River. And the city itself, it covers about 13 square miles. As of the end of last year, 2022, the population was right around 48,000 residents. So if you want to check this out on a map, Littleton is bordered by several other really popular Denver neighborhoods, which makes it such a desirable place to live. So that includes Highlands Ranch to the south, Ken Carl to the west, Inglewood to the north, and it's really just a short drive away from the popular mountain towns as well. So again, really good location for Littleton. A lot of people choose to live in this part of the state because of its easy accessibility both to downtown Denver, but you also have easy access to Colorado Springs and some of the southern Rocky Mountain range, and it's just a beautiful part of the state. So looking forward to sharing more about this all with you guys. So now that you have a better idea of where Littleton is located within Denver, now I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about what parts of Littleton exist and what makes each of them special. So Littleton is divided into several neighborhoods, and each of them have this really cool, unique charm and character. One thing that I really do like about Littleton is how diverse it is from these different neighborhoods and how they all have their own little perks and benefits to them. So the popular neighborhoods that I'm going to talk to you guys about today include downtown Littleton, Ken Carl, Southbridge, and also another one called Roxborough. So let's just go ahead and get started first off with downtown Littleton. So downtown Littleton, it's truly the heart of the city, the heart of Littleton. It's got these really charming historic buildings, lots of boutique shops, lots of kind of mom and pop, independently owned and operated stores, which is so great to see, especially nowadays after all the challenges we went through with COVID. And there's also a lot of really good dining options. Some of my favorite restaurants in all of Denver are located in downtown Littleton. There's also a couple other things that are in downtown Littleton. They've got the Littleton Town Hall Art Center, which is pretty cool. And there's also actually the Littleton Museum. So really a popular spot in downtown Littleton for both young professionals, but also a lot of families like to live in this part of Littleton just because you can really enjoy this lively community. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're gonna see a lot of familiar faces because a lot of people that choose to live in this downtown Littleton area like to frequent all the restaurants and bars and shops. So everybody is really kind of condensed into a pretty small area. So you see a lot of familiar faces, and nowadays I think that's such a nice perk of living in kind of smaller community such as downtown Littleton. So it's also very walkable. So downtown Littleton, in my opinion, is one of, if not the most favorite neighborhood or part of Littleton, that if I was to live in Littleton, that's probably where I would choose to live. Okay, so next up, I want to talk about Ken Carl. Ken Carl is a really, really nice part of Littleton. I actually have some family members that live in Ken Carl, and they've been there for probably 30 years now. So I've been visiting and spending quite a bit of time in Ken Carl throughout my childhood, and there are some different parts about Ken Carl that are really unique and definitely something, especially for families or just people that enjoy a little bit more larger lots and a little bit less crowded streets, some really nice cul-de-sacs, lots of hiking trails right out your backyard, some really nice perks to the Ken Carl portion of Littleton. So Ken Carl, it's actually located on the far western edge of Littleton, just off of C470. It's really close to Bandimere Speedway, which is a really fun place to check out if you've never been to it and you like really, really loud drag racing cars. Not something I'm really into, but definitely go if you haven't been before. It will truly shake your entire body, and you're gonna want to go back and want to take friends after you've gone once, just to experience such a crazy feat of just engineering and just how loud and intense it is. So sorry to go on a little tangent there, but definitely check out Bandimere Speedway. And it's also really close to Red Rocks Amphitheater, arguably my favorite place in all of Colorado. So a couple of really nice perks about Ken Carl. You're on that western side of town. And like I said, it's a popular spot for families who just want that suburban lifestyle, but they also still want that easy access to the mountains. And if you're not from Colorado and you are somebody that knows you're going to want to get into skiing and just easy accessibility to the mountains, being on the western side, such as Ken Carl, is a huge advantage, especially when it comes to a Friday afternoon, 3-day holiday weekend. Everybody's trying to get out of town and escape and get up to the cooler weather up in the foothills or up in the Rocky Mountains. Being on that side of town is already a 15 to 30 minute head start on the majority of people that live in Denver, but especially on busy weekends, you just have that much quicker accessibility. And with Ken Carl specifically, you actually have a back way you can go and kind of avoid the beginning stage of traffic on Interstate 70 going up to the mountains. What you can actually do is take Highway 285, which will take you up through Conifer, connect into Evergreen, Colorado, and that's where you'll get onto I-70, bypassing that first portion, which tends to be one of the worst, especially on, again, the busy holiday weekends. So a little insider tip there for you. So far we've talked about downtown Littleton and also Ken Carl. The third one that I'm not as familiar with, but I've definitely done some research and it looks like a really nice part of Littleton, is Southbridge. And maybe why I don't know about this area quite as much is because it is a newer development. It's located on the south side of Littleton, and it's really known more for its luxury homes. It does also have easy access to the mountains. Pretty much all of Littleton does. And it is really close to the very popular Chatfield State Park. So if you guys probably already know this, but if you don't, Colorado, one of the negatives, especially in Denver, we're very limited by water. We don't have that many lakes, rivers, ponds, just water to play in and do water activities. So Chatfield is one of the few really nice, fairly large public lakes that you have to get a permit to go in for the day, but they allow speedboats, you can go wakeboarding, wake surfing, tubing, all those fun activities. It does get pretty busy, so just kind of keep that in mind, especially if you're a family and a little concerned about your kiddos. Maybe they're just getting started and starting to water ski for the first time or early on in their progression of the sport. Just be kind of aware of that because there is a lot going on the lake, especially on the weekends. So just be aware of that. But Chatfield is a really nice state park that you can enjoy really 3 seasons out of the year. Late spring, all of summer, and even the beginning of fall. Great times to visit Chatfield. So Southbridge, again, newer development, luxury homes, very good accessibility to Chatfield and also just the Rocky Mountains and that western slope. So, popular spot for affluent families, and then again, just outdoor enthusiasts. And then the fourth and final part of Littleton that I'm going to share quickly with you guys is Roxborough. Roxborough is located on the southwestern edge of Littleton, and it's known for its stunning red rock formations and a lot of hiking trails that kind of weave in and out of those red rocks. So a lot of actually Colorado natives and locals haven't even really explored that much into this Roxborough. As far as my close friends, we really never spent too much time this far south into this specific Roxborough area. There's similar hiking and red rock activities towards like Red Rocks Amphitheater and even just a little bit north of there. But this area a little bit further south is really popular. Really good reviews, really good hikes, and just some great options for people that live in Littleton that want to escape either in a late afternoon after work or on the weekends, or really just whenever you have time to take a break and enjoy Mother Nature. So it's all right out your back door when you live in Littleton. So a little bit more about Roxborough. So Roxborough has a state park, and it features right around 4,000 acres of just awesome natural beauty. Really popular spot again for nature lovers, people that want to enjoy being outdoors, but people that want to do so with a little bit more quiet, secluded type environment. So again, since just the location of where Roxborough is, it's not quite as popular and just busy as other parts such as Red Rocks Amphitheater, just from the notoriety that Red Rocks has. So definitely check out Roxborough if you're also looking for a little bit more outdoorsy part of Littleton. Okay guys, so those are the 4 main parts of Littleton. Again, downtown Littleton, we've got Roxborough, we've got Southbridge, and then we also have Kent Carl. There is a 5th one that's not nearly as well known or large in scale, but definitely wanted to at least still mention it. And this is called Columbine Valley. Columbine Valley is a little bit smaller, very affluent community, and this is also located on the south side of Littleton. But it's really known for its large, beautiful homes, private country club, really popular spot again for people that are pretty well off that enjoy, that country club lifestyle. So, golf, tennis, going to a private restaurant, all those things, which who wouldn't enjoy that kind of stuff? So Columbine Valley, definitely check that out too if you guys are looking for a little bit more elevated type of living in the Littleton area. So check that one out too. All right, so talked a little bit about the different neighborhoods in Littleton. Also want to talk for a second about the schools, specifically how well they are received throughout Denver, very highly rated. And then also about a couple of my favorite parks in Littleton. So again, Littleton is home to, it's a big area. So there's several top rated schools. These include Littleton High School, Heritage High School, and Arapahoe High School. Those would probably be the 3 main predominant high schools. Denver's growing very quickly though, so every couple years I feel like there's new schools popping up. So there definitely are more than just those 3. I'd say those are probably the 3 most notable. There's also some really good, excellent, elementary and middle schools. A couple that are probably some of the more well-known schools for elementary and middle schools. There's Wilder Elementary School, and there's also Goddard Middle School. Both of those have really high ratings. So not to be steering when it comes to real estate and trying to direct you to certain parts of the state, but I just do want to mention that Littleton has always been very well known for its high quality of education system. So if you're a younger family and you're looking for different parts of downtown Denver or the suburbs of Denver to potentially call your next home, definitely do your research and just dig a little bit deeper into the school districts throughout Denver, and especially look into Littleton and read about how highly regarded they are. So definitely I respect Littleton a lot for their quality of education. And then again, in addition to the great schools, Littleton has some, in my opinion, some of the most beautiful parks and just recreation areas in all of Colorado. Colorado, we got a lot to offer, so I'll leave it actually more in the Denver metro area. But even though across the entire state, Roxborough, some of those Red Rock Formation areas, Chatfield's really pretty, there are some amazing and very popular places in Littleton that are very highly regarded. One other one I wanted to mention was a really special place to myself being a Denver native, because it's a park called Clement Park. And Clement Park is actually where we have the memorial for Columbine High School. So the Columbine High School shooting, believe it or not, was over 20 years ago now, and a place that this Clement Park, this memorial that they have there, plays pretty close to my heart, because I was actually in the neighboring high school to Columbine when all of the horrific stuff went down. I think it was in 2000, or might have been 1999, but over 20 years ago. And this Clement Park is very somber because of this memorial. However, it has a lot going for it too. There are a ton of fields and different recreation areas for young kids all the way up to adults with different rec leagues and all kinds of sports going on all the time. I ran cross country in high school, and this was always one of my least favorite races of the season because Clement Park has this huge, looks like a huge anthill, and the race required you to run all the way up and all the way down it, and just when you're already tired and just ready to have this race over with, you'd be running up and just see this hill that seemed like a mountain at the time that you'd have to run up and then run back down and keep going. So anyways, Clement Park is just one of many really nice parks in the Littleton area. The other one I will mention is just Chatfield State Park. So similar to Chatfield Reservoir that I talked about earlier, Chatfield State Park, not only has the great boating, but there is a lot of really nice camping and just hiking in that area. So definitely check out Clement Park. Definitely check out Chatfield State Park and Reservoir. Talked about some of the best neighborhoods. We've talked about some of the best parks, really good school district. There's a lot Littleton has going for it. What I wanted to also share with you guys, though, is just a fun couple historical facts. I try to dabble these into all of my videos on my Living in Denver channel, and thought I'd just share a couple with you guys about Littleton. So Littleton definitely has a very rich history, dates all the way back to the late 1800s, and in 1890, the Denver and the Rio Grande Railroad, they actually built a track through Littleton, and this led to a lot of the development of the town. So Littleton was incorporated in 1890, and then it was actually named after a very famous local landowner, owned a lot of land in the area. His name was Richard Little. So that's how Littleton came about. And during the early 1900s, Littleton was known at that time for agriculture, apple orchards, dairy farms, just a big agricultural portion of the Denver area. And then in the 1960s and 70s, that's when the city really started experiencing some significant growth and development. And that really was what started to lead to the creation of some of these different neighborhoods that I mentioned, and some of the shopping centers and just infrastructure that was built after that all came about. So, in addition to just agriculture, Littleton was also a hub for the dairy industry back in the day. So in the early 1900s, the city had actually over 40 dairy farms, and milk was shipped out of Denver on both that Rio Grande Railroad and just within the city. So that was a pretty big thing back in the early 1900s. A lot of this info I'm sharing with you guys right now, you can learn a lot more about Littleton through the Littleton Historical Museum. Great place to just learn about the city's history. This museum, it actually also has these two really interesting historic farms. And one of these is an 1860s farm. The other one is back from the 1890s. So we're talking, 100 and, 170 years ago. So pretty crazy just to think about how it's still around, and you can just, kind of walk around and just still kind of get a feel for what the early days were like back in Littleton, and kind of the growth and development that happened over time. In the early 1900s, Littleton was also known for its really wild rodeos. The city held these big annual rodeos, and they attracted, cowboys and spectators from all over the state. Definitely something that I think helped create and really build up the reputation that Colorado has as, as a cowboy, city, a place that really honors and recognizes some of that side of our history. So there's also a really popular rec center in Littleton, and it's actually named after the local businessman who started Ken Carl, and that's called the Buck Recreation Center. And he donated a ton of land for this facility back in the day. And Ken Carl was just the inspiration for the name of that Ken Carl neighborhood in Littleton. One of my favorite parts of Littleton. If you don't already realize that, I'm going to say it again. Check out Ken Carl. Littleton also has a really strong art scene. Lots of different galleries, especially in that downtown Littleton area. It hosts some really interesting fine arts festivals throughout the year. Really good farmers markets. Just a lot going on, especially in the summertime months in that downtown Littleton area. And then last but not least, had to throw one little bit more obscure historical fact for you guys about Littleton. In the 1960s, Littleton was the location of a UFO sighting, and this thing was big enough to attract enough eyeballs on it that it made national news. So a group of residents reported just seeing these strange lights in the sky, And the incident was actually investigated by the Air Force and the government, just to, I guess, dig deeper into it, because so many people back in the 1960s when this happened reported it and took it seriously. So who knows, maybe there might be some extraterrestrial stuff somewhere in Littleton that we just don't know about yet. So if you're into that kind of stuff, maybe you want to move to Littleton. All right, guys, so I wanted to share a few of my favorite spots to go in Littleton, restaurants, bars, that kind of thing. Go through these really quickly. If you guys are wanting more info on any of these, feel free to shoot me a message or leave a note in the comments, and I'll share with you guys a little bit more info about them. So first one is a place called Merle's. Popular spot for burgers, sandwiches, really good craft beer. It's located in downtown Littleton. Has a little bit more lively atmosphere. Great spot to go if you're into football or just watching live sports on the weekend. Another really good one is called Toast. So Toast is a great spot for Sunday morning. Maybe you have friends in town visiting and you want to enjoy a nice breakfast after a night out on the town. Check out Toast. They just serve classic dishes like most breakfast places do, but everything that they offer there just has kind of a creative twist on it. Stuffed French toast, breakfast tacos, just some really creative, fun dishes. So check out Toast. One of my other favorites is the Tavern. Again, really good spot for sports, popular sports bar. There's actually a few different locations in the Denver area, one of these being in Littleton. Huge TVs, just a really good spot to watch sports. Kind of that pub fare type place, burgers, wings, good selection of beer. Good spot to go with the boys, or just if you're into watching sports. And then another one I'm going to share with you guys is where I actually went recently for my mom's birthday. We hadn't been there in a long time, and it was a super enjoyable lunch that we had with her and my family and some friends. And it's a place called the Melting Pot. Melting Pot is a really popular fondue restaurant, also in downtown Littleton. They've got every kind of fondue you could possibly think of: cheese, chocolate, meat, fondue. They've actually got some really cool stories there. So if you go there, ask your server to tell you about some of the ghost stories. There's like some legitimate, interesting stories that multiple people have told in the past about, some of the background of the building itself and what it used to be before it was the Melting Pot restaurant. I'll leave it at that. You have to dig a little deeper and find out for yourself. So again, though, lots of really good restaurants in downtown Littleton and really throughout Littleton in general. So, all right, you guys. Well, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed a few new pieces of information that maybe you hopefully didn't know already about Littleton, Colorado. And as you could have told probably from listening to me, this really is a beautiful part of Denver. Definitely an area that I've got my eye on and would consider living in the future. As I mentioned, Kent Carl is one of my favorite areas. Roxborough, really nice parks with Chatfield, Clement Park, great restaurants, really good accessibility to the western slope and the mountains. Just overall, Littleton has a lot going for it. So if you're a young family wanting to find an area with lots of programs for your kids, really good schools, all that stuff, or if you're even somebody that's more of a young professional, single, married, you're just wanting to be in a part of the Denver area that has a lot going for it, definitely check out Littleton, Colorado. And as you know, as I said earlier, my name's Adam Lang. I'm a licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado with eXp Realty. Love making videos like this, but I love even more just connecting with you guys and learning a little bit more about what you might be looking for, whether it be tomorrow or 5 years from now. Let's jump on a Zoom call, jump on a phone call. Let's just connect so I can learn a little bit more about what it is that you're interested in. What are your must-haves? What are your want-to-haves? Just get a little bit more clarity on what might be something that would interest you in the future. And I'll keep my eyes on it, and hopefully we can work together in the future. I'd really enjoy that. So my phone number, my email, my website, everything's listed down below. Reach out, and until next time, I'll see you guys on Living in Denver. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.